know my opinion of court packing when the election is over.
Joining me now for reaction, interim chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Marco Rubio. This reminds me, Senator, you have to pass the bill to find out what's in it.
Yeah. Look, they've been threatening. The answer to the question is yes. And the reason why is, here's what I honestly believe. I think Joe Biden, because he's been there for so long, he'd prefer not to, but he has no choice. Because all the energy, all that money, all the activism in the Democratic Party is coming from the far left. And they've been talking about and insisting on this for a very long time. And I want people to understand this is not going to end at 9 or we could have a Supreme Court one day that has like 15 or 18 people, 19 people. Every time some party gets elected and you don't like the makeup of the court, you just add, 2 more people to it. I mean, that's what they do in the third world. It would be ridiculous. The answer to the question is yes, they are going to move to try to do that. And I believe that they're going to do that no matter what would have happened with the Supreme Court nomination. Now, that's why almost a year ago, I filed a constitutional amendment to keep the number where it is and bring us some stability.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Nancy and AOC and all the radical left, they faint when they hear Joe Biden say he doesn't want to pack the court. But you're right. Joe Biden, we know Joe Biden, he's been on tape saying he doesn't want to pack the court, but he's, being controlled by the far left and he doesn't want to give the president a headline. I think that's probably the weakest answer you could ever give. And if they do this, not only that, they want to nuke the filibuster. If Bernie's in charge in the Senate, do you want Bernie Sanders in charge in the Senate if Joe wins?
No, obviously not. And that's why we got to keep the majority. Look, the filibuster is not in the Constitution. It's a rule. And a lot of people haven't liked it for a long time. But I look at the way our system was constructed. And the Senate, our founders didn't create the filibuster, but they most certainly wanted a Senate to act as a body that sort of slowed things down so that we took some time to analyze situations. And that's why it's tough to get things passed in the Senate. And I think the filibuster has been abused by both parties. That said, the reason why they want to get rid of the filibuster is not because they think that we need to be doing more. It's because this time they are not going to do what they thought was a mistake under the Obama administration. They're going to go for it all. I mean, if you talk to people on the left, they all argue that the biggest mistake Obama made was not going for all of it. Not just Obamacare, single payer, and cap and trade. Why didn't we just go for everything when we had the chance? They're going to do that this time.
Right.
I guarantee it. Absolutely.
And once they get the socialist hooks in, those never come out. You do socialized medicine, you do amnesty, you go after guns. That's going to change this country forever. And it might be tough for a Republican to ever win the presidency after that if they do what they want to do. Here's Nancy Pelosi now. I think this is a big distraction. She's trying to say we're going to pull the 25th Amendment. Let's listen.
I think that the public needs to know the health condition of the president. There's one question that they refuse to answer. Before he got the virus and admitted to it, when was his last negative test? When was his last negative test? To make a judgment about the actions that were taken after that. We're going to be talking about the 25th Amendment, but not to take attention away from the subject we have now.
So this looks like another coup attempt. This is when you get a bunch of people in the cabinet that say this president's incapacitated, we're going to make someone else president. Does Nancy Pelosi annoy you with this stuff, Senator?
It's just a cheap political trick, and you see for what it is. And by the way, she's talking about two separate things. The issue about when did he last test negative has to do with contact tracing and who else in the White House might be infected. Frankly, that's an executive branch function. That's none of her business. Just like if somebody got infected in the Capitol, the president would have the right to say, well, when was the last time Senator so-and-so tested negative because we want to contact trace him? Two separate branches of government. The 25th Amendment is already in the Constitution. There's already a provision and a process for doing that. Once again, that would be the legislative branch trying to take over and tell the executive branch what it needs to do or not do. It's a stunt. It's all designed to basically call, and it's dumb because, look, at the end of the day, the president's health, we're going to find out soon enough. I mean, the virus either goes away or it doesn't. He's been putting out videos, by Monday, Tuesday of next week, as we move forward, it's going to be obvious to everybody where that's at. And so, again, look, these are all stunts. And they're just designed to sort of create narratives. The sad part is they get away with it because much of the media sort of eggs them on. And and actually amplifies these sorts of messages.
Yeah, so like you said, the media, a lot of suppression polls going out right now. They say Trump's down by 14 points, and then they point to a few battleground polls. I'm looking at 2 battleground polls right now. Suffolk University, USA Today, has it a tie in Florida. Another poll, Insider Advantage, has Trump up 3 in Florida. I think Florida is a pretty comfortable state for the president. How do you see it?
Well, nobody's comfortable in Florida, but I'll give you this. Quinnipiac, on the eve of the governor's election just 2 years ago, had Andrew Gillum up by 7 points. Obviously, he's not the governor of Florida.
Yeah.
So
he was down for the count in a hotel room, as a matter of fact.
Well, and I don't mean to pick on Quinnipiac. A lot of people got it wrong. The bottom line is that I think if you look at some of the fundamentals, whether it's registration, enthusiasm on the ground, obviously, I think the president's going to do very well in Florida. I expect him to win Florida. Now, obviously, we need to win Florida to win the presidency, but we can't just win it with Florida. We got to win in Pennsylvania and in Ohio and all these other places. And I could say that about this election, and I could say it about 2016 and 2012 and all the way back to 2000, as we all well remember. So, I think it's going to be close, but I think the president will win. In the end, no one's going to win Florida by 5 points either way. We're not that kind of state. A 1 or 2 point win in Florida is a big win.
What do you think, and we got to wrap this up real quick, what do you think is the most defining move you could make against Joe Biden? What is the definitive line of attack from the president against Joe that you think would be most effective?
That this country faces extraordinary threats from a pandemic, China, from Russia, from Iran, from terrorists, and Joe Biden's too weak to confront them. He's too weak to confront those threats, and he's too weak to confront the radical elements in his own party that will demand radical action. He is not strong enough for a moment like this, and that's why he can't be our next president.
All right, weakness. That's what it sounds like to me. All right, Senator Rubio, thanks for joining Water's World.
Thank you. Have a good night.